Come with me if you want to live.
The greatest action moments in movie history all start with one man. The new Arnold Schwarzenegger collection.
Trust me.
8 of the most explosive movies of all time. Now on video and DVD. Knock, knock.
Welcome back, everyone. We took a little hiatus and hope everyone had a good holiday and Happy New Year. This is Movie Matters. I'm Kevin.
I'm Jake.
And we're talking about Commando today from 1985 with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So we're kind of starting this month off with Macho Month or Jacked January to put a little gym motivation in everyone. You know, it's their New Year's resolution to lose weight or gain muscle or go to the gym or, you know, do something active. So this whole month we're going to be focusing on Arnold versus Stallone. So Schwarzenegger versus Stallone, and I'm very excited. And that little sizzle reel that we just showed is so awesome. I grew up watching that sizzle reel on so that's from a VHS. Mm-hmm. And I had this movie Commando on VHS, and every time I'd put it in, I wouldn't, you could fast forward, but I would never fast forward through this little sizzle reel of just all the most badass Schwarzenegger movies out there. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again a million times. Schwarzenegger's my favorite. Like, I grew up watching him. He's my favorite action star, and I'm excited to talk about this movie.
Yeah, this is my first time watching Commando.
Wild.
We were not a big Schwarzenegger or Stallone house growing up. Like, we had Terminator and Terminator 2, but I didn't really watch any of the 80s action movies besides Die Hard growing up. So yeah, a lot of these are going to be new to me, which is exciting because they're all, I think, going to be a little wild and cheesy and stuff, but that's what kind of makes them fun.
Yeah. You texted me and you're like, this movie is unreal. And I was like, oh shit, I forgot you have never seen it.
Yeah. Well, what's the best part about it is that it's fairly believable up until the last 15 minutes. Then it just goes so off the rails. It's like, holy shit. So we'll talk about the ending, and I'm sure in a little bit, but
there's a lot to talk about. It just
gets so wild real quick. You're like, oh, we just warped into another dimension of
murder.
How you can kill people in 80s action movies. So
this movie's very 80s. So like I said, I own this on VHS, and I watch this movie all the time. I had one of those. It brings back so many great memories watching this movie, because I had this little Sylvania TV. I think it was maybe a 13-inch or a 20-inch TV with the VHS combo on it. Mm-hmm. And I would pop this movie in all the time and watch it. I mean, I was probably either right around 10 or under 10 when I first saw this movie. So I've been watching this movie for a long time, and it's a classic. And I can't believe I never showed it to you, which is surprising to me, and that you've never seen it, especially. Mm-hmm. Again, we're both big fans of Terminator. This movie is very nostalgic for me, and I am so excited to talk about it. And there's quite a lot of fun stuff to talk about. But first off, let's kind of start with your just overall thoughts with the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's fun. It's got a bit of a Man on Fire kind of theme where his daughter's kidnapped, and he's told he has to go do a mission that he's, not interested in doing, and instead, goes and kills everybody involved with his daughter's kidnapping. So like from like the narrative perspective, it's like kind of a classic action trope. And then, he's like he's not like the grizzled like veteran, but like you can tell he's like he's the reluctant retiree or whatever, that's kind of when I thought I was out, they pull me back in, kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is great. Another like action trope, particularly in the 80s, because I think you're, right out of Vietnam, which we'll see in
First Blood.
Yeah. So yeah, it's that kind of, that trope is strong in a lot of the 80s movies. I think of like the war veteran who's kind of forced to go back and do some damage or whatever.
Murder people again.
I wasn't quite, because again, I never saw this before, so I had seen the poster, all over the place,
Combat
and
vest.
like it looks like a hardcore, like I was expecting like a deep in the jungle, like entrenched, like gritty action movie, and it was like
that.
way more lighthearted than I was expecting, especially for how many fucking people die in this movie. But like, but I mean, it's really good. It's fun. You can tell that this is pretty early in Arnold's career because his acting isn't fantastic. But like, whatever. It's fine. It's fun.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a single time in the movie where he aims down the sights of a gun. I think he fires everything, and it's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny you say that, because like Schwarzenegger agreed to do this movie because he wasn't playing a caveman, Conan, or a robot, Terminator, and wouldn't be walking around with no clothes on and would be playing a normal person. So like,
there's still plenty of close-ups of his muscles, though.
Yeah, I mean, literally right off the bat, the opening scene. Well, first off, you get the bad guys just wrecking his crew, and like, shooting a guy, killing him, and then just shooting him while he's dead on the ground.
Yeah,
just lighting him up, which is always funny.
With the Uzi, the classic 80s bad guy weapon.
Yeah, classic. That has unlimited ammo.
Yeah, always.
Like, every gun in this movie has unlimited ammo. It's kind of wild. But yeah, the opening of the introduction to Schwarzenegger's character, John Matrix, which his name is fucking awesome.
The best, worst name of all time.
Yes, John Matrix. Matrix. Yeah, just the opening of him with the close-ups on his sweaty biceps, and then him just carrying a massive tree.
Yeah, a tree.
Holding a chainsaw. Yeah, literally a tree. Like, yeah, a circumference of like 2 feet.
Yeah. Yeah, so like, right off the bat, like, he's supposed to be strong. That's established.
Oh, well, it's Schwarzenegger.
They take that to some wild extremes in this movie, though. Like, there's some parts of this movie where he does things where it's like, this might be a Superman movie. Like, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, like he rips the seat out of a car that's bolted in.
With his bare hands.
Yeah.
He flips a car over with his bare hands.
Yes.
He picks up people with one hand and throws them multiple times, like 20 feet.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, so kind of going back to our Stallone versus Schwarzenegger, this movie came out pretty much right at the same time, or like similar time frame, because it was the same year that First Blood Part 2 came out. We're going to be doing First Blood. And both films performed very well at the box office. However, Stallone's film was surprisingly a much bigger hit. but they both did very well. But this fueled the rivalry, Schwarzenegger versus Stallone, that went on for years. Nice thing is they're buddies now in real life, which is cool. But definitely, in my opinion, I think Commando's a better movie than First Blood Part 2. I don't know if have you seen First Blood Part 2?
Never seen.
There's some pretty cool ass moments in it, though. I haven't seen it in a long time, and I think I've only seen it once, so it's definitely begs a rewatch.
Yeah.
This the opening of just him and the opening like credits, just it takes a turn. Like people get murdered in the opening, Schwarzenegger's jacked carrying a tree, and then all of a sudden it just changes pace and shows the opening credits of him and his daughter. And it's like so goofy kind of. And the soundtrack changes to like 80s saxophone and like tropical music. And it shows
like Zydeco or something. It's very very out of place for the content of the movie.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Yeah, and then like that whole opening is very out of like it's very different than the rest of the movie because it's like it shows it's a montage of him and his daughter sharing an ice cream cone, feeding a fucking deer, fishing, swimming, and then making sandwiches. And you're like, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah. So so that opening sequence, obviously they're trying to establish that he's like what's seemingly a single dad with this young daughter, and like they have a blast together apparently. And then the military helicopter shows up, and John's old commander or whatever gets off the helicopter and tells him that his crew's been getting taken out. And what's interesting about this, again, never having seen it, I was expecting this is the point where they go, you got to come with us. We're going to send you into the jungle and go, hunt down some communists or whatever.
Interesting.
But then they're like, okay, see you later. We're going to leave you with these two guys to protect your house. And instantly after the helicopter leaves, they get sniped in the face. Yeah. It's like, whoa, okay. So this is much, much more of a fighting on the home turf kind of movie, not shipping you off somewhere and, you got to deal with, outside forces or whatever.
Yeah, the movie's an hour and a half, and it just gets going right away, which is awesome. I mean, the movie flies by at that runtime, and we've talked about this ad nauseum about the runtimes being, lower like that, like an hour and 30 minutes for just filling more seats at the box office, more showings. But I love, there's so many classic one-liners in this movie where, the guy, one of the soldiers who gets shot that's trying to protect him in the beginning, it's like, you think I can smell him coming? And like Schwarzenegger's like, I did. Which is awesome. And then, it does subvert some tropes a little bit. Like, for example, when this guy who's like sitting in that rocking chair in his daughter's room is holding like this, note that his daughter gave to Schwarzenegger. And he's just like, take it easy. Like, be cool. And, Schwarzenegger's just like, fuck you, wrong, shoots him in the head. Just wastes the guy. Which is awesome.
Well, that's like there's a few times where like you said, they subvert what normally would be the like you're coming with us. Or like the typical bad guy monologue encounter or like whatever. And they just do away with that and they just get wasted. And like there's a couple, like we talked a lot about in Die Hard how it's kind of like the anti-macho movie. And there's a few moments in Commando, where they kind of throw some little nods to like how ridiculous like it really is.
Yeah.
I think the fight scene in the hotel is like the big one where I can't remember what the girl's name is. It's like Claire or something. Cindy.
Yeah.
Where Cindy's like, what is this macho bullshit? It's just like these two sweaty
ad-libbed.
dudes just beating the shit out of each
and
other.
They eat too much red meat, all that. Yeah. So funny you mentioned Die Hard. There's a couple connections. The original premise of Die Hard was envisioned as a sequel to Commando, but Schwarzenegger declined to return. Stephen D. Souza wrote this movie. He also wrote Die Hard. The made-up country of Valverde, which is hilarious, is mentioned in Die Hard 2. It's also mentioned in Predator, which we're going to get to as well.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there's a lot of cool connections like that. And, speaking of Stephen D. Souza, the writing in this movie is kind of not good.
Yeah.
Like...
It's not like the dialogue is like action movie fine.
Yeah. 80s action movies fine for sure.
The actual plot and plot points are garbage.
Yeah.
Like there's literally like they tell Arnold that he's got to go kill some South American country's president.
Yeah.
They never fully explain why or how that's going to get their master plan into focus or whatever.
Yeah.
And like everybody just gets murdered and the day is saved. Like,
yeah,
it's like very underdeveloped
yeah.
in the narrative realm, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's funny because they like spoon feed you these expositions and like these, like when they're telling Schwarzenegger to like, you're gonna kill the president, and like they're like literally telling him, they're telling the plot basically,
right?
And then there's certain parts where Schwarzenegger kind of tells the plot and like backstory to add to like little details where he's driving with Cindy and he's like, I did all these missions and I'm not doing that again, and I had to raise my daughter on my own and everything like that. Jenny, like, she's my life now. So the writing, I realized it more this time. I mean, I haven't watched this movie in probably a few years, like 2 years, maybe 2 or probably about 4 years actually. So I watched it in the last place I was at with my friend. I showed him during COVID. I was like, we gotta watch some dope movies.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because they do spoon feed you all of this backstory and explanation of what the bad guy's plot is, but at the end it's all so inconsequential that like there's almost there's nothing at stake besides his daughter.
Yeah.
And like they could have just left it at these guys kidnapped his daughter and that's like why he's pissed off and he's going after them. Like, but
I like that they have the ticking clock aspect of it. It's like you've got 11 hours to like make sure they don't know you're coming, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it necessarily drives the story any faster than it would be if he was just trying to find his daughter as soon as possible, but true. Whatever. It's still fun. It's still like watchable. It's not like you're sitting there confused the whole time. Like, what the hell is going on?
It's super watchable. It's super entertaining.
And frankly, like at the end, you just don't care about it anyway because it's just hilarious to watch him just wreck these people and like. At the end, everyone kind of jumps in the air and does the like heel click, and they're like, "All right, time to go." Like it's cool. Like everything's great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. You don't even care about the plot. You're just like, I want to see Arnold just wreck and level people.
Yeah, and that's what's. I didn't realize this until thinking about it later, after I had finished watching. But like, there is no big villain monologue moment in this. Like the main bad guy.
Bennett
Is Bennett. Well, there's the Australian guy, but then there's the South American guy who's the one who wants to become the president of the made-up country, but it's not entirely clear how that's going to happen. Whatever.
Dan Hedaya. I like that guy.
That guy is the kind of the guy where you'd expect the big villain speech out of, and you know that Bennett is going to be the final boss fight, because they're the like rivals and they have beef. But the South American guy just gets fucking shotgunned like 12 times after a very short gunfight, and you're like, oh, like, did I miss? This is like why this guy's the bad guy. Like,
he's kind of pointless.
But then it's kind of like, okay, so Bennett's the real bad guy. All right,
and let's talk about Bennett because he is a fucking goof. Yeah, he's wearing knitted chainmail, which is so fucking stupid.
Yeah, makes absolutely no sense.
0 sense. His Australian accent is hilarious. He's like overweight and not
in shape.
Yeah,
remotely like nowhere in the same universe as Arnold Schwarzenegger in terms of fitness and or like even thinking that like this guy could handle himself in a fight against Arnold. Which is hilarious. Their fight is actually pretty long.
It is
and drawn out. So.
Yeah, and I don't want to jump to that right now, but we'll get to that because it's awesome. But like, the villains in this movie are so comical. Like the Henrik, I think his name is, or Heinrichs. It's like the dude, the tall black dude in the Hawaiian shirt and a suit. Yeah. Like everyone's clothes are goofy as fuck. He's wearing a safari
Arnold
hat.
Elbows in the face, knocks him out, and then snaps his neck on the plane without anybody's noticing.
That is one of my favorite parts of the movie, by the way. Because
and I was like, what the hell? Like, Jesus.
That scene is by far one of my favorites. It might be my favorite scene in general, just because, one, whenever I travel, I think of that scene. And, like, especially when I travel with my girlfriend, I show her that scene. I go, if you don't shut the fuck up, I'm going to do this to you. But I'm joking. I don't really say shut the fuck up. But, like, because it's so funny. He just fucking, smacks him with his elbow.
Yeah.
He throws up all these magazines and then just snaps his neck. And then the line is so good that he's just like, please don't disturb my friend. He's dead tired. Like, awesome. It's so good. It's so genius.
Yeah, that one and the guy in the weird suit that's
Sully?
Harassing Cindy.
Yeah, Sully. That's the short dude.
That in the initial kind of interaction at the house, Arnold says he's going to kill that guy last.
Yeah.
And then he ends up being the second guy that Arnold kills. But he just chucks him off a cliff, which is awesome.
Yes.
And then Cindy asks him what happened, and Arnold says, I let him go.
Yeah. There's so many awesome lines. Yeah. This is my weak arm.
Yeah.
I love that. My bad arm. And then just the noise the guy makes when he falls down the fucking... All the noises in this movie are amazing. Obviously, Schwarzenegger, if you guys love Arnold as much as I do, you need to go on YouTube and just type in compilation of Arnold noises, because it's amazing. And just like just all those noises that he makes is amazing. At one point, it sounds like he says eggs when he kicks the guy. He's like, eggs! It's so good. And dude, when he is, it's comical when he's in the mall and all these rent-a-cops are trying to stop him, and even one of the rent-a-cops is like, this is one gigantic motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then he just levels all of them.
Oh yeah, in like a kind of thing. Like he throws his arms up and like 12 of them just go flying in a ring. Like,
yeah. Yeah, and then he like rips a phone booth out of the wall and fucking throws the guy in it, which is hilarious. Again, like you're saying, like Superman style, just like, which apparently I read that most phone booths at that time were about 450 pounds, and Arnold could bench 450 pounds, so they're like, yeah, it's totally like believable that he could do it. All right, sure.
Yeah, all right.
Jeez. And like all the fighting, apparently the martial arts expert and fight choreographer, Michael Vendrell, worked with Schwarzenegger on the film. By the end of the production, Vendrell estimated that Schwarzenegger had become a second-degree black belt. Like, that's fucking insane.
Yeah, I will say the hand-to-hand fighting is pretty good in this movie. It's the choreography is pretty tight, and like especially the final fight with Bennett is actually really well done.
Yeah.
And like it's long for a fist fight, but yeah, it's really well done.
Yeah. What's pretty cool is Schwarzenegger performed many of his own stunts, as the producers found it difficult to find a stunt double for him because he's just fucking massive. And the actor went to the hospital like 3 times during the shoot. He suffered like a dislocated shoulder. He had to get several stitches because he got stabbed by like knives. Like, because they used like real knives in a lot of the fights. And he's just like, yeah, stop doing
Why
that.
not?
Like, production, don't give Vernon Wells, who plays Bennett, like, don't give this fucker a knife. Like, I'm going to die. But it's pretty cool because, and I think a lot more, like, there's kind of a revolution in Hollywood somewhat right now for stunt performers and the recognition that they deserve. In this movie, 54 stunt performers were listed in the credits. That's 17 more than the actual cast.
Jeez.
So it's cool that, like, kudos to that, because the stunts in this movie are fucking awesome. Mm-hmm. But, you know, like I said, Schwarzenegger performed most of his stunts, but there's some where it's so obvious that it's not him. It's very comical. Like when he's like swinging from in the mall, when he swings from one area to on top of the elevator, it's like clearly not him. And you know, VHS quality back in the day wasn't great, so
yeah,
you know, you didn't notice as much as you do now with HD and all that, but still pretty funny. Mm-hmm. And then there's one scene that always bothers me in this movie, and it's when Sully's meeting this guy that's giving him passports. That's never really explained. It's like this Hispanic dude who's got this briefcase, and like he gets all this money. Like he gets an envelope of, he gets a briefcase of money, and then he hears what's going on and runs out of the mall, like, or out of that bar for no reason, and has his gun drawn. He's like, out of my way, and it's like shooting, and then gets wrecked. And it's like, okay, like that was so pointless. That scene always kind of bothers me because I'm like, what the fuck is this dude doing, and who is he?
It's never explained why they're making that exchange, or like what it has to do with it. Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with the plot, and they just needed something
new
to trigger
identities, maybe
a fight in the mall. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm guessing it's new identities, since like they're maybe faking their deaths and going to this Valverde country. I don't
maybe,
know. Again, not really explained. Again, the writing is not amazing. But speaking of that mall, that's the same mall used in Terminator 2, the Sherman Oaks Galleria.
Oh, okay.
Which is cool connection.
Yeah. Nice.
I've got a lot more to talk about, believe me. Yeah, just the whole the fight scene between him and Duke, who's or Cook, excuse me. His name's Billy Duke in real life. Cook. I love that scene. I love that they just randomly barge in on some people having sex, and like there's a video camera in the corner of them taping it, which is wild. That scene's always makes me laugh. And then I realized it more this time on my viewing when Schwarzenegger and Cindy go and rob that surplus store with all the weapons.
Which is the coolest gun store of all time that has
Yes.
literally anything you'd ever want.
Yeah, and the secret button that is always under the counter to open the room full of guns.
Where they keep the rocket launchers and the rockets and grenades and
In
C4
California, of all places. But yeah, they all have those. Yeah. I love that, like, he's got all these guns on him, and the cops come in, and they're like, freeze. And then they walk him out, not handcuffed,
Yeah.
into a van, and they don't find Cindy. They don't, like, see her. And they're driving him in the middle of the night. There's no one around, and Cindy shoots at them with the fucking rocket launcher.
Twice.
And, yeah, miraculously doesn't kill Arnold. And
Yeah.
again, Arnold is
Which
not handcuffed.
Yeah, he walks
Which is-
out of that paddy wagon completely unscathed while it's
Yeah.
on fire and tipped over.
Yeah, makes no sense.
It's great.
But yeah, that's 80s for you.
Yeah. But also, like, they've, up to this point in the movie, they've caused all kinds of mayhem. And there's never been a single, like, police officer. So, like, that whole sequence with the cops, like, is totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why it's there, but it's kind
That
of
is
funny.
literally
'cause
completely unnecessary.
she shoots a police wagon with a rocket launcher, so.
Yeah, and they think she's a hooker, which is like,
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense either, so.
yeah. Yeah, and then you kind of get to the island where they're at, and I love just the guards in the movie, especially the one line from, this is the only speaking line from like one of the guards, where he's just slitting a girl's throat is like cutting warm butter. You're just like what?
Yeah, like, what? Yeah.
So funny. But like literally none of the plot points make sense. Like, oh, like we got a clue from we got this key to go to this motel. Let's go there. They go there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Cook shows up. They find a receipt in his glove box that says, oh, it's for an airplane. Okay, let's go to this this hangar and take a look. Oh, the airplane's not here. It's at this place. Let's go to this airplane and we found an island that they could be at. We don't know. And then they get in this airplane and fly there. And it's like, oh, yeah, they're here, and I'm going to fucking decimate all of them.
Yeah.
Like-
yeah. The trail that leads them to the location is not
It makes
well
zero
defined.
sense.
Yeah. There's a lot of leaps that you need to take
Yeah.
with them as the viewer to just nod your head and be like, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like I'm on board. Let's go.
Yeah. And then you get Arnold in a Speedo, rowing his boat, jacked as fuck, rowing his
Just
boat
watching
while
all
she
of his
watches.
fucking muscles flexing. Like,
Yeah, and then just gets on the beach and gets ready. And it's, you saw it in the Schwarzenegger collection trailer because it's iconic of him just like, let's make this look badass and string him with grenades and put his knife in his boot or in the sheath, and he's got his rocket launcher and his AK and all this like
war paint and
yeah, it's badass. Don't get me wrong, and it's just like, yeah, this is 80s.
yeah.
And then again, he just decimates all these soldiers with unlimited fucking ammo.
Yeah.
And the sound effects
And
of all
claymores.
these, yeah, and saw blades where he slices
Yes.
a guy's head off, basically.
So me and my wife were watching this, and when he throws that first saw blade and chops the guy's head clean,
Yeah, like the
at
top
the
of his head
brain
off.
level, my wife was like, "No fucking way." I was like, "Yeah, that just happened." Then he gets 2 more guys with saw blades.
Yeah,
I'm
he
pretty
throws
sure.
one in the guy's neck and like
Yeah.
kills him that way. And then
And
there's
one goes this way into like
I think
vertically
so.
into someone's face. I
Yeah.
think. But yeah, like you're not gonna be able to throw a saw blade hard enough to chop someone's head clean off. Like
cut into their skull. Jeez.
it's so ridiculous, but
Yeah.
but
Then
hilarious.
Then he takes an axe and fucking chops some guy's dick off, basically, and then a machete and chops the guy's arm off, and then and that like it's just hilarious.
Hit fires his way into the house with his never-ending AK-47.
Yeah, like literally, I'm like, this guy has unlimited fucking ammo.
Yeah,
And like, what's funny is
not a single magazine change throughout the entire movie.
No. I mean, he changes guns and drops guns, but like, he's got that M60 that has the bullets which are fed into it, which you could see the bullets, and like he's just unloading on people, and those things are just not moving.
Right.
But it's a movie, people. It's a movie.
I do like, though, every time. It doesn't matter if it's Arnold or a bad guy or what. Anybody that shoots a machine gun, they have to shoot like a minimum of like 10 rounds.
Oh yeah.
Even if the guy's like right in front of him and he's clearly dead, it's still like
it's over the top
stops.
for sure. And I would stack that up to, again, 80s action movies, machoism, we've talked about it a lot, and the competition against Stallone. It's like, let's see how many guys we can kill. Matrix, Schwarzenegger kills 81 people in this movie. 81! Like...
That's a fuck ton of people.
Yeah.
Especially considering the ending of the movie is everybody just kind of shrugging, being like, "Okay, see you later."
Yeah. What'd you leave? Did you leave anything? Just bodies. Like,
just bodies.
He killed everyone.
Well, 95% of that body count has to be on the island. I'm pretty right.
I would say so. I'd say so. But like, yeah. So getting to the ending scene. With him fighting Bennett. The fight scene is a little goofy. Again, we talked about Bennett being kind of a overweight dad bod type guy that holds his own against Schwarzenegger in this movie, gets electrocuted, and then comes back with a vengeance.
Back like nothing.
Yeah. And the lines that he says is hilarious, where he's like, "I'm not going to shoot you between the eyes. I'm going to shoot you between the balls."
Yeah.
It's so good. And then, Schwarzenegger obviously kills him by throwing the fucking steam pipe through him. Or the pipe through him that goes into the steam chamber that's behind him. And, comes out with the classic line, "Let off some steam, Bennett." So good. And then we get to the ending, and we've got another classic 80s upbeat song. We Fight for Power, or We Fight for Love by Power Station. That does not fit the movie at all.
In any way, shape, or form, Kevin. In any way, shape, or form.
And they fly off into the distance.
Yeah,
it's not the sunset.
The credits are just the plane flying like in a circle around the island to this like power ballad. Like
they had to do a victory lap.
There had to be a victory lap.
Or Cindy, Ray Dong Chung's character, just wanted to see all the fucking dead bodies that Schwarzenegger did, and she's just like, "Let's see your carnage."
I mean the whole island sequence is like unbelievably stereotypical of like the 80s action movie, right? Like
huge
explosions. Blows up buildings
Yeah.
with massive explosions.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's a massive body count. He just tears through people, and then it comes down to the one-on-one fist fight or knife fight with the the main bad guy. Even has him at gunpoint and convinces him to throw his gun away and get into a fist fight.
Come on, put that chicken shit gun down.
Which is hilarious because the whole time in the movie, Bennett's like, yeah, I'm scared as fuck of John Matrix. Like, I don't want to get near that guy. And then at the end, he's like, yeah, I can take you.
Yeah, he's like screaming. He's like, I don't need no gun.
Like, dude, you've been talking about how he's going to murder you if he ever finds you.
And he does.
But whatever. Yeah, he does. Big time.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. I read that Schwarzenegger and Ray Dong Chung, Cindy's character, or who plays Cindy, they shot a love scene, but it was deleted and dropped from the movie, which I'm glad they didn't put that in there because it would have been completely pointless.
Totally unnecessary. And, like, in my opinion, her character is unnecessary. Like, she doesn't really add anything besides someone for him to talk to.
And to be a pilot to get to the island. It's like, oh, let's just get a random flight attendant and have her be the comedic relief. Which
I mean, if he's...
I like her character, though.
Yeah, she's not... It's not bad.
She's not annoying or anything like that.
No, it's not
like,
detrimental to the movie.
She's not stereotypical-ish.
Yeah. I mean, but, like, they could have been like, oh, not only is Arnold Schwarzenegger a killing machine, he can fly any kind of aircraft, you know.
Which could have been believable.
It would have been totally plausible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one question, and this is kind of a main question that we probably can end with, is can this movie be remade? Do you think it should be? Is another.
I don't think it should be. I think it could be. If it were forced to be remade, I would make it like the most dead serious movie ever made, and just make it like unbelievably violent and like just total deadpan serious. Like, cut all the goofy stuff out and make it like hardcore.
Like, hey, you stole my daughter, I'm killing every one of you sons of bitches.
Yeah, like Taken.
Yeah.
You know, level like serious, you know.
Yeah. So in 2011, Mark Lester, the director of the movie, met with the head of 20th Century Fox. Lester had been trying to get the movie remade. He was trying to get the rights for it because he really wanted to make a sequel. And they basically asked why, and he's like, dude, so many people love this movie. It's got a huge fan base, and like people know every line to this movie. And 3 days later, Fox announced the remake of the film. It's been in development hell ever since, and I don't think it will ever be remade. But like at one point, David Ayer was attached to write and direct a sequel / reboot, which is crazy because I didn't know that.
Yeah, whenever things like this sit in development hell for that long, the result is never great.
Yeah,
so
agreed.
Just drop it, move on. Like,
however, there are some that have made it out of development hell, like the Mad Max Fury Road, like that.
Yeah,
but
and like
very rare
for the most part. Yeah,
yes.
The rule is there's some exceptions to the general rule that it's gonna be a flop, and then everyone. It's like it's not typically worth the risk of tarnishing the legacy of the original.
Agreed.
To reboot something if you can't get it together, you know, in like a reasonable amount of time.
I agree. I don't think it should be remade. Oh, I'm just Googling it right now. July 1st, 2023. Arnold Schwarzenegger attached to Commando 2.
Now, like a sequel.
I don't know if that's going to be.
I could see a sequel if you got Alyssa Milano to play the adult version of the daughter.
That'd be cool.
And you did a Die Hard 3 type thing where Bennett's brother comes out of the woodwork, or you know, some shit like that. Like, that could be cool. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, also, like, I just don't. I feel like you can't match the tone of this movie today. Like, it just doesn't work.
Agreed.
Right?
I mean, a lot of 80s movies, you can't match the tone.
Yeah. Like, for whatever reason, it was, like, totally cool to just massacre people in 80s movies. Like, I feel like it just doesn't go over as well anymore. But maybe it's because they try and make things too serious now. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it becomes a reality, if it gets a sequel or gets remade. But my vote is no.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'd not be in favor.
Yeah. So, we're going to be doing this month all
before
Schwarzenegger.
we wrap up, though.
Oh, okay.
Did you catch the 2 Terminator lines?
I'll be back, Bennett. And what's the other one?
Fuck you, asshole.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's in like a lot of Schwarzenegger's movies. Fuck you, asshole. Like even in Total Recall, the girl, like the random woman on the street that tries to steal his suitcase is like, "Fuck you, asshole." Yeah. So, definitely some references there. I mean, obviously Schwarzenegger's known for his iconic one-liners. I'm excited for this month, and it's definitely gonna be fun. Like Schwarzenegger versus Stallone, it'll definitely be a cool take on who is better. We're not gonna get through all the movies, obviously, because we're just doing 1 month, so we'll be doing like 4 movies. But there's some good ones we're definitely gonna do, and we'll come back to more Schwarzenegger movies and more Stallone movies in the future for sure. But this month we just wanted to dedicate it to motivation to get in the gym or to just to do that. So
not for me, but for the rest of you.
Yeah. So we appreciate you guys listening, and we look forward to the next one.
Yeah, next week, First Blood. So
he drew First Blood.
Second Stallone movie we'll have done on the show.
Yeah.
Behind Cobra.
Yep, I'm excited. I haven't seen it in forever, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me either. I'm excited to watch it again.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Yep. See you next week.